Chapter 19. August 31st, 2017. August passed through with few problems. Jason, Noel, and I got shit done, and we earned plenty of money in photo shoots and ads, of course. Having a kick-ass website and social network helped too, not to mention Jason's side polo gig. I called Jason as soon as I woke up and invited him over to the condo. Being in tribals helped my image, and to return the favor to Jason, I had to go one step beyond. He arrived around noon. "Nice website you got, Jace," I said, pouring a glass of orange juice for myself and a glass of chocolate milk for Jason. I never had the junk milk in my fridge before meeting the runt, and his metabolism must have been one of cosmic proportions. To be honest, I was jealous. He could eat 3 chocolate cakes in one day and not gain a pound. We talked over the table, sipping our drinks. With him comfy, it was time to shoot the shit. "Dude, your birthday's at the end of next month, right?" Jason nodded eagerly.
Oh, you remembered.
"Cool, since I had a little trip planned."
Oh, really? Where at?
"Hold on a sec." I got up and opened my blinds. My condo had the perfect view of Coronado Island just off to the right and San Diego Bay. If it weren't for the Navy bases on the Strand, it would have been a paradise to see every time I woke up. "Hey, look outside, dude. What you see?" Jason walked up to the panoramic window, disinterested in the view.
The ocean.
"Not just the ocean, Jace, the beach, and I figured for your birthday, we'd go up the coast for a little camping trip. Just you and me, no Knowles allowed."
But isn't that expensive? I've never gone camping, and if we do, how am I going to pay off my debt?
"Don't worry about it. I'm sure we're making more than enough."
You're probably right, Reich. I'm going to set my phone down and use your restroom. If Tyler calls, answer it.
Sure," I said as Jason set his phone on the counter and went into my bathroom. A minute later, the cell phone buzzed and I answered it. Jace's phone.
Who the fuck is this?
That voice needed a serious shower. If that was Jason's cousin, he already met my expectations of the asshole Jason told me about. "He's busy, dude. You got a message?"
No shit, I do. Tell him that I got the money last night and that he still needs to pay the rest by Christmas. He needs to give his fucking cousin a call once in a while.
"All right, dude, all right." I hung up before any more audible barf could enter my ears. That dude needed to take a chill pill. He must have not gotten out much as a kid. Jason came back from the bathroom and I relayed the message. Both of us sat on the bar.
Sweet, man.
He said,
Now we can play.
"Exactly, dude. And I've got the best beach for us to do that." I pulled out my phone and zoomed into the central part of California, focusing on the coast. Right there.
Pismo Beach.
Jason looked a little puzzled.
That's way north.
"Silly Jason, you think anything past Carlsbad's way north. Learn to leave the city once in a while, dude. I betcha you think Vegas is in a whole another country."
Wait, it isn't?
The tone of Jason's voice implied a spark of sarcasm. "Anyways, we'll go on the last weekend around the 30th. Less crowded and shit from all the kiddies being in school and all, dude. So what you think?"
That's my birthday, man. It'll be great.
I smiled. 2 birds for the price of 1. It was his birthday, and the day we would be finally hitched. Drake and I dined on a sushi restaurant's terrace overlooking Mission Beach as the sun went down. The place looked fancy and modern, a run-of-the-mill hole in the ceiling joint. Kids played in the sand and screamed as ravenous seagulls squawked looking for any breadcrumbs on the walkway below. There was nothing. Drake looked hammered. He was on his 3rd Mai Tai of the night and his 2nd round of spider rolls. The ripe avocados in the rolls tempted me with their aroma to grab a bite from his plate. I could do without the alcohol.
"Hey, Riker?"
He asked. Whatever he was about to say, if there was no green in his hand to match my shirt, I wasn't interested. The wasabi in his dish didn't count. Neither did the avocado.
"I've got this surfing expo coming up on the 30th, bro, and Jace said you were a sweet-ass shredder. You want to come over and chat up the rookies with me? It'll be a volunteer gig."
I hung my head down for a moment. "Can't do it, dude, sorry." Drake slumped his shoulders.
"Oh, why not?"
"I'll be going to Pismo Beach the end of this month, Jason's birthday and shit." Drake tipped his chair back, almost falling back and making an ass of himself.
Wow, you going to Pismo, bro?
He slurped a swig of his Mai Tai.
I'm from there, man. SenCal and all. I knew all those towns. SLO, Grover, Oceano, all of them.
Cool, dude. Text me some cool joints when you can. Perhaps they'd have a decent sushi place. Drake nodded as the waiter arrived with my crab rolls. I picked up a single roll with my chopsticks and ate it in one bite. Hey, odd question. I drank some water. You know a Kyle Gillespie by any chance? Drake's eyes widened past the rims of his sunglasses.
Bro, he's my roommate. How you know him?
He goes to my gym. He's kind of a dumbass if you ask me. Drake giggled.
I could see that, but why you into him? Jason not satisfying you enough?
Calm your tits, dude. My own nipples perked thinking of Jason. If they held milk, they'd lactate. He was going to be impressed with my gains in the gym by the end of our trip. This isn't about Jason. How often do you see Kyle at your dorm?
Not too much, bro. He's all eat, gym, sleep as far as I know. If he's there, he's sleeping.
Well, give him this then. I slipped a BBU business card under Drake's plate, and have him call me.
Will do, bro. Will do.
Drake and I finished our dinner, walked on the beach a bit, then went our own ways home. I drove to BBU the same night. The machines lay empty, the fat fucks probably gorging on food instead of burning their dinners on treadmills. If there was anyone besides me obsessed with their body here, it would be Kyle. He had his priors for midnight workouts, and if he was there, he and I could get a nice leg day. A single calf extension machine was the only one in use. A guy who looked like Noel but thinner and more boyish was on it. He wore a UCSD water polo shirt like the one Drake wore.
Hey, you look familiar.
The guy said, eyes staring at me.
Wait, you're Riker Kuzanek, like the Riker Kuzanek, right?
Yeah, dude. I gave him a wink and a smile. Nice to meet a fan. The fanboy got off the machine.
Oh, I'd love to spot you. What you working out?
I pointed to the squat rack. Sure, the kid could tag along. He looked like he was a better lifter than most of our regulars. And if Kyle wasn't here, this guy would be a decent sub.
I'm Cody.
He grasped my hand, wobbling and tugging like he wanted it as a trophy.
Nice meeting you.
Cody released my hand and followed me to the squat rack. He went first. For someone looking no older than a high school kid, he performed a much better squat than most professional powerlifters, Kyle included. Each of us did 3 sets on squats before moving on. As we reached the seated leg curl, Cody sat in the leather chair and nestled his legs between the cushions in front of him.
You know,
He said.
I want to be a model just like you. You think I can do it?
I didn't see why not. The twerp would not steal my fame. He didn't look nearly as hot as me, or even Noel. Hey, maybe, dude.
Wow, cool.
Cody's eyes widened.
When can I start?
Doesn't work that way, dude. You gotta talk with the boss, but first let's get those hamstrings powered up. I smacked his shoulder. He flinched and did his routine. Cody and I finished our leg workouts and went into the locker room. The dude in red himself finally showed up. Kyle, dude, what's been up, my man? I reached out to give him a high five. No response. He shrugged. Maybe he was still mad at me over Drake.
Is this your new boyfriend?
Excuse me?
Cody said,
I like chicks.
even if he were gay, I wouldn't date him. But props to him for honesty. Cody being straight helped in my book too. Less competition for the boss man. Kyle ignored us as Cody and I changed into our regular clothes. Underneath the shirt, the whelp looked more muscled than I thought, and he had well-toned abs, but I wasn't jealous. He looked the part, so I gave him a TCS card with Jason's number. We're booked up for the rest of the month, dude, but give this guy a ring. He'll be sure to get you in.
Really?
Cody took the card and put it in his pocket.
Thanks a lot. And you're a nice person, too. That means a lot to me.
He reached out his hand for a repeat performance of the pull my arm off as a trophy handshake. I was certain to see him again in October. As for Kyle, perhaps time would heal our wounds.
Chapter 20, September 12th, 2017. With the burden of my debt pushed back to Christmas, I was a free spirit, at least for a while. I called Noel to tell him the good news.
That's great, Jason.
His voice sounded pleasant.
So what are you going to do for the rest?
Same as usual, but not much until October. I'm going on a trip to Pismo Beach at the end of this month, and I'll be pretty busy there. He couldn't know why. What's your schedule like?
Busy as ever.
He slowed to a drawl.
Workout, be Hanamura's slave, take my last class on entropy and enthalpy, and fucking graduate.
Want to come over? No need to worry about Riker showing up. He said he was busy today.
How about tonight?
That'll work. I hung up and marched straight to the computer. The photos from last week's opening tournament weren't going to edit themselves. From afar, all of them looked the same. Blue water, gray concrete, and little action. Out of 1,000 photos, about 100 were useful. Crappy shots of balls splashing the water, tilted photos of the goal, and the worst of all, thumbprints over the lens pictures. From running TCS since April, I knew better. The best pics were the ones of just the guys. Hunky Drake and Dustin were so photogenic, and the latter looked dead sexy in his headphones. If he were gay and lacked a social life, I'd recruit him as a third model. Even Gage, the boring captain, had a body hungry for the camera. I dragged all my candy photos to a separate folder. Not even my models would be allowed to see them. The useful action shots needed their own treatment. Contrast here, brightness there, and a smidgen of color correction later, and they were ready to go. A couple clicks later, they were online to be sold. Editing the 2-day tournament's photos killed most of my time waiting for Noel. The raging waters and goal-shooting experience of polo pictures took my mind off of him. He couldn't be here tonight to steal me from my Reiki boy. I wouldn't let him. There was a promise to keep, but I needed him for an expertise Riker didn't have. In the evening, Noel let himself in like he owned the place. Casually dressed in skater gear, he took a seat on the couch, destroyed by all that lotion from the pinups.
So, what did you want, Jason?
In typical Noel fashion, he ignored looking at me and typed up a novel of a text.
I take it you don't need math tutoring.
I'm all tense. My shoulders slumped. The sleepy fairy of dreamland called my name with a headache. From editing photos to anticipating the Pismo trip, I needed relaxation. You said you took a massage class, right?
Yeah, in undergrad.
Noel pulled his eyes away from his phone.
What, you want a massage? But I didn't bring any oils and you don't even have a proper table.
I took my shirt off and threw it on the floor. Noel stayed on the couch, but as he started to take his off, I shook my head, signaling him to keep it on. I sprawled out across my living room carpet, unsure if Noel would follow my request, and closed my eyes. Noel's warm hands jolted my shoulders. As he glided down my spine, feeling every subtle bump and valley along the way, his warmth spread across my naked back. He was rough, and with oil the massage would feel better. Every pass added more pressure and took out the tension inside. This was not a time to talk. This was a time to relax. Like in the hot tub many moons ago, Noel kneaded my shoulders one at a time. He spent longer on the right, my dominant side, and the one with more pain. If he kneaded all day, it would never be tiring, but it had to stop. He slid down my back in a line off-center on the right, then circled up the side. The stroke down felt better and warmer than his return trip to my shoulder. A few times on the right later, he switched sides. The uneven temperature of my back washed away as he worked my left side. Pink energy flowed into purple. Noel let go of me. He pounded my shoulder blades to get the blood flowing. The whole massage felt wonderful, like all that stress flushed away. Suddenly, I needed to pee. The floor was too comfortable, and my body was too relaxed to stand. I flipped over and opened my eyes. Noel stood above me, giving me a desirable view of his abs. He didn't have to take it off.
You're so cold, Jason.
I shrugged. Didn't really care too much about my own skin temperature.
Hope that helped.
He sat down Indian style behind my head.
Did you know that heat transfers from hot places to cold ones? It's what they call the zeroth law of thermo.
Okay. Didn't really care about science either.
You should know this. Heat's a form of energy. The hotter something is, the more energy it has, and bodies with more energy tend to transfer it to those with less. You felt more vigorous after that massage, right?
Guess I did. Although I didn't agree with Noel over heat as a form of energy, I felt ready to conquer the world, or at least La Jolla. I sprang up and sprinted to the bathroom to relieve myself. Upon returning, I put my shirt back on. Thanks, man. I gave Noel a hug. If I had my camera ready, I'd take pictures, but I was with Riker. Noel's embrace warmed me inside, more than his massage. I wasn't sure if Riker was the right model to be with, but for the first time, I knew Noel had feelings for me. Both of my boys did. Now to keep them separate, since neither were interested in a ménage à trois where all three of us would benefit. Noel got dressed.
You sure a massage is all you wanted?
Yeah, maybe you can teach me?
Kinda hard to teach massage at the same time as receiving one. Remember when we first met when I asked you to read a few photography books? That statement applies to books in general. Can't rely on us to do everything for you. Maybe someday I'll need one.
Books bored me. I remembered him saying that back in April, and even that photo book on the coffee table was a better dust collector than it was entertainment. With Noel still here, I opened it up and recognized one of the guys in there I hadn't before. Dustin was the man on the 2-page spread. He was the rock star, the forbidden model who would never be hired at TCS. Noel wouldn't let me hear the half of it. You know, maybe I'd try it. I closed the book. There's probably something online.
Great, Jace.
Noel looked at his phone.
I should get going.
I saw Noel out the door and went back to my computer. A few massage websites showed me what I needed to practice, and with the Pismo trip coming up, Riker was a good person to start with.
Chapter 21, September 29th, 2017. After my morning workout at BBU, I drove to Jason's place with only the essentials. Surfboards, swimsuits, dome tent, protein bars, more swimsuits, and lastly myself. He could bring the rest. We packed up his stuff, a tiny rolling suitcase heavier than your average dumbbell, and an equally heavy bag of camera gear. At dawn, we hit the road. Driving up the 101 meant going through Santa Barbara, my brother Spencer's stomping grounds, and the birthplace of his harem of zealous chicks. The faster Jason could drive through it, the calmer I could be. We were a few hours away, but as we drove through Carlsbad, then LA, and then Ventura, my heart pounded faster than it did in any boot camp workout I ever went through. If only my muscles could grow from riding in Jason's car. We entered city limits. The first billboards shocked me with sin. The bastard brother's image and a speech bubble saying, "Do not lie with a man as one does with a woman. It is abomination," towered over the freeway. His hateful ads reminded me of what I had to do. If I wanted to be on top, I needed to act faster. Then it would be me on that billboard selling myself for fame and fortune. To hell with him and everything he stood for. "Hey Jace, speed up, dude." We passed by another billboard with another holy message.
I'm already going 75. You want a ticket?
A man wasn't supposed to cry, especially one who looked like me. Seeing Spencer's ads tested that saying. "Dude, just, get us out of here."
All right.
Jason groaned and accelerated.
Never thought you'd run away from a beach.
After a 6.5-hour trip, we reached Pismo. Jason's car was not suitable for driving on the packed sand, but it was that, or walk. Dragging my surfboards and all our camping supplies 2 miles one way was out of the question. Jason crossed the hard sand slowly until we reached an empty space big enough to pitch a tent. I got out of the car first. Winds from the ocean blasted through our campsite. It would be torture to set up now, not even an umbrella. My nipples hardened under my shirt, goosebumps on my arms. I'd need a wetsuit just to swim, and a warmer one to surf. Didn't bother with that crap now. The best thing to do was watch the waves and the kiddies playing in the ocean until the winds died down from inside Jason's car. At sunset, we got out. The larger waves crashed on the beach sand in front of us, ones big enough to surf. Jason and I made camp, then rested on the soft, sandy beach. Using a pre-built fire pit, I lit a blaze for us to share. The twink didn't bring any marshmallows for us to roast. Well, just him. Thinking about marshmallows would make me gain 10 pounds of body fat. He could eat 3 whole bags and not gain an ounce. The flames' warmth let my pecs breathe. As usual, Jace sprang right on them before I could use my shirt as a poor man's pillow. The kid was a touchaholic. I could deal with it for now.
So what was that all about back in Santa Barbara?
Jason kneaded my chest. His touch improved since my first time with him. "I already told you, dude. It's a long story and you don't want to hear about it." Jason let go of me and rolled off to the side.
If we're going to be together, then you need to tell me everything.
I took a deep breath to rack my brain. This might shock you, dude, but I wasn't born in San Diego. I grew up in a no-horse gay-bashing town in Sencal.
What?
Jason rolled back, touching my side.
I thought California was all tolerant.
Wow, you really are sheltered. Where I'm from, people were killed. Queers were jumped or stabbed every single day, and if you were there, I'd give you 3 days. That was generous. Central California was the state's Bible Belt, and Spencer only left to spread the good news, or in his case, infesting news.
People died. No wonder you got out of there.
Exactly, dude. Left at 18, never went back. Tried finding a job in SD when I moved, and finally got one at BBU just to pay the bills.
So why'd you want to model?
Didn't deserve an answer. He knew that already. After a peck bouncing show, I continued. So what about you, dude? How'd you get here?
I wanted to express myself, to be free. My mom told fortunes with tarot cards for a living.
Guess that runs in the family then. At least I had a reason not to throw him in the loony bin anymore.
Her name's Juno. She could speak the colors and through her third eye see a beautiful future for me. According to her, I would be filled with cosmic energy forever, just like you, Riker.
She was the whack job, 40-some years late to the loony bin. At least I didn't plan on marrying the twink lest she'd chase me down with sparkle dust at the wedding. What about your dad, dude? I was hesitant to ask. He couldn't have been any crazier, but I had to take chances. What was he like? Jason stayed silent. He pushed me deeper into the sand with his shuddering. Sounded like a touchy subject.
I never knew him. All I had was a name. Josh Gilardi.
I see. If we could trade childhoods, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
From what my cousin Tyler told me, my dad was a drug dealer and my mom was his favorite customer, and she'd buy anything to enhance her visions. All those incense candles she'd buy, laced with drugs.
Dude, wow. Typical Jason to dodge my questions, but I had to fake interest. What about you? How'd you grow up?
I lived with my mom.
Jason still showed that tremor in his face.
My brother and cousin beat me up after school every day for years. They said I was a sissy and needed to man up.
They homophobes too? The straight world never understood us. Christians? Jason shed a tear.
No. Tyler quit, though. He ran away to Vegas soon after. I owe him more than just...
His eyes watered up too much for him to speak clearly. Figured I'd get the rest of the story later, but with the rest of the beach quiet, I put out the campfire and crawled into the tent. Had a long day with a photo shoot and surfing ahead of me.
Hi. Jason here. The first part of Chapter 22 can't be read on YouTube due to its content. Let's just say that Riker and I had a little fun in the tent after our conversation under the stars. I'll be picking the story up with the next morning.
By the way, Jace, happy birthday.
Thanks, Rike. Chapter 22, September 30th, 2017. I woke up first in the same position I fell asleep in. Riker's right pec glowed beet red from my touch. Must have drained it of its usable spiritual power. After another sweep across his chest, I got on my knees, using him as support. Riker shivered as he opened his eyes.
Morning, Jace.
I tossed him his underwear. Last night was awesome. You're so strong, man.
Hey, dude.
Riker slipped on his briefs.
Get my clothes, would ya?
Yeah, sure. After throwing an oversized shirt and board shorts at him, I left the tent to let him get dressed. I helped myself to a box of chocolate granola bars in the back seat of my car for breakfast. Riker could try to stuff cilantro or kale or whatever he eats for breakfast down my throat, but any of that crap would stain the beach sand green if it touched my tongue. Half an hour later, Riker came out of the tent fully dressed and prepared for the photo shoot. I scanned him over and he at least looked ready, but his hair was still frizzled from the night before. I went towards my duffel bag and took out a mirror to lend to him. He took it, looked at himself, and gave it back to me.
What about it?
He asked. Your hair's all messed up. You sure you don't want to comb it?
Relax, dude. It's part of the style. Now, are we doing this or not?
Whenever you're ready. I got my camera out and checked to see if everything was working on it. I took a few candid shots of Riker and a few others of the nearby campers. Most of them were leaving, so we essentially had the whole beach to ourselves. As soon as we were ready, I had him face towards me and away from the ocean. I took a freehand shot and he smiled in a sexy way.
How do I look?
I showed Riker the picture. He seemed to like it. I personally didn't think too much of it given the state of his unkempt hair. The photo shoot went as planned. Riker shone brighter than the beach he stood on. These photos alone would be worth double the others I had ever sold. After I put my camera equipment away, Riker and I decided to take a seat on the warm beach sand, both of us facing the ocean.
Hey, Jace.
Riker said.
You ever gone surfing?
I shook my head.
Well, that sucks. Why don't I take you on a little surf ride?
I barely knew how to swim, let alone surf on a board in the middle of the ocean. Nah, I'll just watch.
Come on, dude. You can't spend all your life on land. Here, come with me.
Riker got up and took me to my car.
Keys?
I pulled out my keys and opened the trunk. Riker pulled out one of the black surfboard cases and set it on the sand. He unlatched each tab lock one at a time and creaked open the top. The surfboard was a sparkling emerald green with a white gradient blend on top. The KZK brand logo was spray painted on the solid green portion in all blue lettering.
Beauty, isn't he, dude?
If I had my camera out, I would have taken 5 pictures of it. The bright sunlight reflected the white part of the board onto the trunk of my car. You mean she? I said.
All my boards are guys, but we're not using this one. It's only for pros like me.
Riker locked the surfboard back up and left the case on the sand. He reached back into my car to pull out the other surfboard case. He creaked the second case open and revealed a smaller purple surfboard.
This one's for you, Jace. I hope you like it.
Holy crap. I just told him I had never gone surfing in my life, and now he expected me to surf with him. It's amazing, Rike, but I told you I don't know how to surf.
Did I tell you were silly today, dude? We're going together.
How?
Just listen and do what I tell you.
Riker carried the purple surfboard to the ocean, and I followed. He plopped it down on the edge of the water, pointed side away from the beach.
I'm going to lie down here, and you get on top of me. When I swim out there, I'll pop up, and I'll need you to hold onto my chest as tight as you can. If you let go, you're gonna die, okay?
As Riker explained my role, my body couldn't help but give in to the natural urges. For once, if I went all out, it would be death for both of us. I panted. Old cranky, no. Red blood. The more I thought of those, the more the urges died. Okay. I took a few short breaths. I'm ready. Riker got into position, flat on his stomach. While thinking of ways to kill the natural urges, I laid myself on top of my model. He took my hands and cupped them on his massive toned pecs. It was relaxing, but that moment of rest would not last long. As Riker paddled out to sea, waiting for the next big wave, only our deaths were on my mind. Both of us drifted in the middle of the ocean, the beach still in sight. The smaller waves formed in front of us. They were for the amateurs, or at least that was probably what Riker was thinking. I was more interested in the sweet feeling of Riker's supple skin against my face. He was the refreshing, cool feeling on this hot, late summer day. He smelled better than the seaweed drifting next to us. The surfboard floated closer to shore. A bigger wave was upon us.
Get ready, dude.
Riker said.
And hold on tight.
As Riker pulled himself up, the board tilted into the water. My teeth clenched as I was propelled up. My body leached onto Riker's like I gave him a bear hug. Arms on his chest, the board stabilized, and we were off. Riker zigged back and forth through the whitewater. Adrenaline rushed through me. I saw little other than Riker's back. Him being taller prevented sight of the city. I could only watch his arms balancing us. Before we were 50 feet from shore, Riker started to lose balance.
Watch out, dude,
he shouted. He leaned to the right, taking me with him into the drink. As I went underwater, I couldn't see an inch in front of me. I shut my eyes, afraid sand would enter them. The splash separated us, but we were able to swim to shore. I panted again, recovering from the exhilarating experience.
How was it?
He asked. I took a few more short breaths. Phew, wouldn't do that again, man.
Well, wasn't it fun?
I didn't answer. All I wanted was to get some sleep at the tent. Riker ran back to our campsite as I slogged behind, ready to crash. Once at the tent, I collapsed on the floor. He joined me a moment later. Eyes locked with mine, his laid-back mood died with the waves.
Hey, Jace, can I ask you something?
I winked, too tired to nod.
We've been together in an open relationship for about 4 months now, dude. And I just want to say you're a cool guy and an awesome boss.
Thanks, man. Was he quitting or worse, breaking up?
Maybe we should go steady. It'll help Tribal get more fans and you'll get more money.
Oh, I don't know. What would Noel say? If Riker and I were official, then there'd be no chance of us working together, let alone being together. TCS needed both models. No, I needed both models.
Don't have to answer now. I'll let you think about it, then we'll talk in the morning. Get some rest.
Riker left the tent, presumably to surf a few more waves before the sun went down. I stayed inside and closed my eyes, too tired to think about my looming decision anymore. Riker and I broke camp at dawn, neither one of us saying a word to each other. Most of the weekenders already left the beach. We drove back the same way we came in, the morning winds howling and battering the car. The beach sand under the tires stayed as hard as it was when we drove in 2 days ago. 15 minutes later, we were on pavement and on our way to the 101. We stopped for some smoothies from a drive-through cafe before getting on the freeway back to San Diego. A few sips of his drink were enough to make him talk.
Well, dude, you thought of it?
Thunderstorms of questions clouded my mind. Had to pick one, but my mouth worked faster than my brain. How would us going steady get TCS fans?
Well, dude, fans want the dream of true love. If we're hooked up, then it'll give in to that notion. People want their romance, they want that happy ending, and not the one you gave me 2 nights ago. You don't realize it, but you're in showbiz now, and fans eat up tabloids like doggies for biscuits.
So in other words, I scratched my head, keeping one hand on the steering wheel. It's all a publicity stunt.
They'll think it is, but let me be serious for a moment. We hook up, and it'll be a real relationship. Not one of those phony ones that ends in 3 days. We have chemistry together, you know.
Okay, then let me ask you something else. My brain finally caught up with my mouth. If we hook up, then would Noel be allowed to stay?
What, dude?
Riker's eyes widened. Only 'cause of the debt. Plus, we can't be a one-model agency.
About that, Jace. Already found...
A new photo shoot idea, I got it. Another one with both of my boys. We could do another beach one in San Diego, or rent out Rike's gym and take nice pics in the sauna, or even a sexy number on my bed again. Riker sighed and pulled out his phone. Didn't mean to interrupt him. He didn't say anything, so I guessed it wasn't that important. After fiddling with it for a few seconds, he put it away. Riker's words last night rang in my head like they had some sort of sincerity to me. He hadn't lied yet, or at least about anything that concerned me. His antics 2 days ago with his brother Spencer seemed a little far-fetched, but other than that, he had helped me as much as I helped him. Without each other, we would both be nobodies, and I wouldn't be on this trip. You know what? I said. Let's do it, or at least give it a try.
Awesome!
Riker patted my shoulder.
I knew you'd say yes.
I nodded. We finished our trip down the California coastline in record time, stopping in San Diego in the mid-afternoon. He took all of his belongings out of my car as soon as we arrived at the apartment. His car was still in the visitor parking. I helped him pack before saying goodbye. After he left, I went back inside, edited the beach pictures, made another payment to Tyler, and went to bed, tired from the long day. In a jungle clearing resembling Hawaii, 3 identical waterfalls flowed into a crystal-clear lake. Riker and I faced each other in front of a wooden altar, shirtless and wearing matching swim trunks. Rainbow stardust filled the air, and all of the colors were present. Above the log-cut seats, an array of spherical spectral lights floated to watch. My cousin, wearing cock-feathered tribal regalia, began the ceremony.
Do you, Jason Adrian Gilardi, take this man, Riker Sean Kuzenek, to be your lawfully wedded husband?
Yes, I winked at Riker. The lights in the audience shone brighter as Tyler continued.
And you, Riker, do you take Jason as your lawfully wedded husband?
Yeah, dude.
He smiled back.
Well, since Jason paid for a 5-minute wedding to make up for spending his debt's worth of money to fly all of us to Hawaii, you two are officially married.
Tyler disappeared into blue stardust as Riker and I kissed. The earth trembled when our lips parted. All signs of pink, from the stardust in the air to the lights in the audience, faded away into gray. The waterfall on the right dammed up, and the green grass surrounding everyone sprouted into a tangle of thorns. Countless vines wrapped themselves around Riker and me, pushing us towards each other. As they squeezed us, I could only think of this eternal bond. The thorns pierced our skin, channeling our blood among them like they wanted our bodies to merge. Marriage is a prison, one I'm not ready for. I woke up, pitch black everywhere around my apartment. Perhaps I jumped the gun. What would Riker do? What would I do? Chapter 23, October 4th, 2017. The week following Pismo was a relaxing experience. Little happened, with no photo shoots planned. I had another game on Friday, the first home game of the season. If it was like the exhibition game, I would already be prepared. And with 3 teammates to help me, I had it in the bag. With nothing planned for the evening, I put on another rerun of Mr. Ball's wacky adventures. For once, it sounded stale, and the dialogue too bouncy for my tastes. Was I growing up? The phone rang. Unknown number.
Is this Jason?
Said a boy with a voice higher pitched than mine. Yeah, who is this?
I'm Cody and I wanted to see about being a model.
I almost hung up. No one of consenting age would sound that young, but I had to be professional. How old are you, man?
18, sir, I'm a college kid.
UCSD?
Yeah, how'd you know?
Just a guess. If he said San Diego State, that would have been more reason to hang up, no offense to Noel. Well, how'd you get this number?
I met one of your models at the gym last month. Said his name was Riker. He gave me a card with your number on it, but please, I swear I'm an adult.
You know what? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Meet me at Belmont Park in front of the roller coaster Saturday at noon. Bring a pair of swim trunks and a...
All right, Jason, thank you.
The kid hung up before I could ask him for a selfie. Knowing nothing of his physical body structure casted more doubt, but Riker scouted him, so I took his word for it. Plus, having a third model, even part-time, would create even more revenue for TCS and more money to pay back Tyler. From Pismo and the polo game, I would imagine being a third of the way through paying him back. I called Noel afterwards and told him about the last-minute photo shoot. He had nothing planned for the weekend, and I needed his help to evaluate this potential newcomer. Riker could sit out of this one, seeing he was the recruiter and all. A conflict of interest would not look good for business. The first home game of the season ended like clockwork. The Tritons won, and I had an entire SD card full of photos like any of my latest shoots. After the game, the entire team held a quick meeting underneath a compound made of 2 blue awnings with the Triton logo. As I went to the team to shake their hands, Gage stopped me and cornered me against a nearby wall.
Let's see those pictures, buddy.
Another player with a childish face and a bowl haircut poked Gage in the shoulder before I could get my camera out.
Sir, when's practice tomorrow?
Gage turned around and faced his teammate.
Byerly, you know when practice is. Every day at 3. You and the other underclassmen had better be there. Get changed before I cut you.
The kid walked off into the locker room with the rest of the team while I opened up the pictures. Like with the exhibition game, Gage groaned and looked lost in thought scrolling through each one.
Good work, kid, but I won't mince words. You've gotten better than the first time you took pictures of us, but there's still a lot for you to learn. In fact, I have another assignment for you. We need some official team pictures, and since you're the only photographer I know willing to do it, will you?
Yeah, man, when? Gage combined both of my worlds together. I could pose the team however I wanted and get even more hot dudes to work with.
Next Saturday, we'll do it here.
Okay, Gage let me go. Drake walked out of the locker room, ready to pucker up to his captain boyfriend.
Hey, the bro's still in his Speedo, man. I thought you'd be the first out of it.
Sorensen, not now.
Gage took a step back before Drake could kiss him, almost falling back into the pool. Drake took another advance.
Come on, bro. You've got to lighten up a little.
Hey!
Gage waved at me.
Don't just stand there. Get this guy under control, or at least help me get these awnings taken down.
Before I could stop Drake, all 3 of us heard the glass doors open. The same guy with the bowl cut walked back outside with one of his friends. He left his friend and walked to the rest of us.
Drake, sir.
He said.
Thanks for taking me under your wing tonight.
Drake smiled and faced his teammate.
No probs, Cody.
I knew names didn't imply causation, but the name and the voice matched the guy I spoke to over the phone. Perhaps Riker was right. Like Noel, the kid looked the part of a model underneath the neckline, though not as developed as either of my current models. Hey, you're Cody, right? The bowl-cut polo player nodded. Did you by chance talk to me over the phone on Wednesday? He looked confused.
You're Jason, right? Jason Gilardi?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize you from the website. I thought you were a lot bigger than that and your hair was more like an emo.
That's not me. I shrugged my shoulders. You'll meet Noel tomorrow. Remember, Belmont Park, roller coaster. Gage turned around and looked at the game clock, holding a folded awning frame.
Then practice.
Cody nodded.
Byerly, you and Chambers help me finish this, please, before I freeze to death.
I couldn't help but stare at Gage. Everyone except him was fully clothed, and he was still wearing his team Speedo. Cody and his friend helped their captain take down the awnings and break down the scoring and shot clock tables. Other lingering team members pitched in as well until everything was back in storage.
You all can go now.
Gage waved the rest of the team off as he walked into the locker room. I followed him inside. He held the power over Cody, and 2 hours was not enough for me to try him out. Gage showered alone in the locker room. It wasn't worth it to take pictures now. Even if I had enough space for 50 butt shots of the team captain, it wasn't worth the punishment. 5 minutes passed before he turned around to notice me sitting on a bench.
What are you doing?
I stood up at attention. I want to talk to you about Cody.
Byerly? Look, bud, I don't know what you want with him, but I need him here at practice tomorrow. We won't have anything on Sundays, so you can have him then. Now, if you excuse me, I need to finish getting changed.
Well, I had plans for him, and it's just for one day.
Listen, buddy.
Gage took a seat on the bench and removed his Speedo. I couldn't help but to look.
What you do with your modeling agency is your thing, but we are a team, and teams need to stick together. All I'm asking is that you let Cody practice with us tomorrow. Then afterwards, you can have him as long as you want.
Okay, you win. I eyed Gage's Speedo, a bartering chip he couldn't refuse. With him facing the lockers and putting on his street clothes, I snatched the dripping swimsuit off the wet metal bench before he could turn around.
Hey, where'd it go?
Gage tackled me to the tiled floor, cornering me between 2 lockers.
You took it, didn't you?
I opened my hand, showing him the wadded-up blue Speedo. He took it and left me on the ground. Hey, you don't have to be so tense, man. Are you always like this? Gage glanced over his Speedo. There were no defects.
You know what? I'll play your game, buddy. Next Saturday, after team picks, you can have me and Byerly pose for your studio. Just pay us what you pay your models for a photo shoot.
I got up. Okay, man. After shaking hands with Gage, I left Canyon View and drove back home. Both Cody and I knew it, but the shoot at Belmont Park wasn't happening tomorrow, but I could still do something with Noel.
Chapter 24, October 7th, 2017. As I pulled up to Belmont Park at Mission Beach, the briny seawater diffused through the car windows. Crowds of kids stormed through the walkways and surf shops with Riker's image plastered on the windows. They looked recent and from an unfamiliar beach. Jason waited for me at the ticket office, leaning against the wooden wall. So, where's your new friend? I asked.
Change of plans.
Jason sighed.
He had something pop up at the last minute.
I see. Jason straightened himself off the wall.
He should make it next weekend.
So, no photo shoot then? If not, I was more than happy to leave.
Nah, forget it, but since you're here, let's have some fun.
Jason handed me a pink wristband with Belmont Park's logo.
It's a day pass, so we can ride.
I know what this is. I peeled off the end of the wristband and wrapped it around my right arm. But thanks.
Let's go on the roller coaster. Whee!
Jason clasped my hand, and for a pint-sized stick, he certainly knew how to pull someone almost twice his mass. I pulled out my phone and started reading more of my book as we waited in line. Or at least I would if Jason had the superpower of knowing when to shut up.
So you see,
Jason said.
Riker and I are together now.
That's nice. Wait, Riker proposed? So that's why he was gone. That blonde bastard. Jason deserved better than that surface surfing piece of condom. And Jason said yes? Like I was a second-string model even though TCS wouldn't exist without me? Any plans for a...
Not yet, but give us 6 weeks or so.
I think you should reconsider.
Why?
Well, what's Riker done for you that I haven't? He'd better not say anything that compared our bodies because he already knew that answer.
He took me to Pismo?
He blinked several times. The condition of Jason's car in the parking lot proved otherwise. No, you took him.
It was his idea.
What is him taking you to Pismo prove? I could take you on a trip to Paris and it'll be the exact same thing. Jason looked lost in thought with that boyish look of his.
Sorry, Noel, but I'm with Riker now. You're a good friend, but he asked first.
But Jason asked me first, and I said no. Only because he did it too soon, and 2 weeks wasn't long enough to know somebody. If he proposed now, I might say something different. We reached the front of the line. The attendant scanned our wristbands and seated us together in the middle section of the coaster car. The lap bar squished my thighs while leaving a 1-foot gap over Jason's. No upper body support. He was going to fly out for sure. The car took off, and for the entire ride, not a single drop or hill excited me. In fact, the coaster and my stomach didn't agree. Jason sure was having fun, shouting "wee" for even the smallest dips. Jason really was a child in an adult's body. If he and Riker were together, then why would he be here with me right now, if not just to be nice? The roller coaster car pulled back into the station. I thrusted the lap bar up and bolted towards a nearby trash can to throw up. Jason crept up to me as I hurled breakfast.
You all right?
I heaved and regained composure. Yeah, let's ride something calmer. We rode some of the smaller rides in the park to calm me down. I wanted to enjoy them if only to keep my mind off Riker. After all but one, I felt almost as good as I did when I arrived. The last one was the closest to our cars on the south side, a spinning chair ride that rocked back and forth on a single robotic arm, and enough seating for 5 couples. Jason stayed quiet and played on his phone as we waited in line, giving me time to get some reading done. The robotic arm ride swirled a zero-gravity storm of emotion within me. This morning I had no plans to even stay in this park, and now our situation was reversed. Jason needed to pick the right decision. Me. Weightless inversion after weightless inversion proved Riker was not the man Jason needed, yet there he was, smiling with his arms and legs spread out like a 4-pointed star. Logic didn't work, so, if anything, I needed to stoop down to Riker's level. Become him, though bleaching my hair was out of the question. The ride stopped, and we got out. Jason had seen Riker and me shirtless enough times that just losing the top wouldn't be enough, but being a public place, I couldn't let my junk out here. After puking the remnants of breakfast into another unfortunate trash can, I took Jason to a secluded part of the park near some construction. I took off my shirt and slung it over my shoulder, leaving the shorts on for now.
What's all this about, Noel?
He asked. I need you to be straight with me.
We're not doing the photo shoot today, you know. You can put it back on.
Fuck the shoot. I need to know why you said yes to him.
We went over this earlier, and I don't want to talk about it again.
Thinking like Riker, I started to unbutton my shorts. Before I could finish, Jason walked away without saying a word. Pismo changed him, mostly for the worse. My heart hit rock bottom. Logic couldn't change him, and looks couldn't change him. If I said yes in Vegas, none of this would have happened. But where would I have been? If only I knew that Jason was the first person I met that understood more than just a single-minded concept. No person could be quantified into a cookie-cutter design. Nevertheless, I still had a job to do, since Jason didn't fire me. I could still show the world the results of my hard work and dedication to the art of aesthetics. Then, my posters would be plastered on Belmont Park's walls instead of Riker's. With Jason gone, I ripped off the wristband, put my shirt on, and walked back to the car.
Chapter 25. October 14th, 2017. The gates leading to Canyon View's West Pool were wide open, unusual for a day with no games or swim meets. The team practiced in the pool as I arrived with my camera equipment, ready to take the pictures Gage needed. He was the first to notice me.
Okay, everyone out.
He shouted as all 30 guys exited the water on the same side.
Red shirts to the ends. The rest of us will line up by our numbers in front of the wall, caps off.
Yes, Captain.
The entire team said in unison. The afternoon sunlight baked the entire west half of the complex, but provided perfect lighting for the team photos. Everyone lined up still in their Speedos according to their numbers. The 2 goalies took the middle, with odds on the south side and evens on the north. Most of the players I knew were odd numbers, with Dustin and Sky standing together. Drake looked isolated from the rest of the team, standing on the north end of the line. At number 24, he was the only even-numbered player I recognized. As they talked among themselves, I set up my own equipment. It hadn't changed much since the pinups. I set the tripod on the western edge of the pool. Using the wide-angle lens, it was possible to get a nice panoramic picture, maybe even one good enough to post in price. Everything on my end was in place. As I looked through the viewfinder straight at the goalies, the team hushed, looked serious with their arms to their sides, and stood at attention. 3 pictures taken, they were enough for this first round. Quality sucked, too blurry. "Can you guys scrunch in a bit?" I shouted across the pool. The team obliged, forming 3 more rows with Drake and 2 other players lying on the pool deck and the second row taking a knee. 3 more pictures taken. These were better, with less need of a panoramic shot.
Okay, just seniors now.
Gage said. The underclassmen walked off to the side, out of the camera's sight. Gage, Sky, and the other seniors formed a single line in front of the building. 3 more pictures, each with better quality than the first 2 formations.
Okay, everyone back to practice.
The team except Gage jumped back into the pool and continued their drills. The captain walked around the pool deck to talk to me. The suns beating on my shoulders started to bake my shirt. I needed to go inside or at least find some shade, even if it wasn't in the complex. Before I could put my tripod and lenses away, Gage reached my side of the pool. "I take it you want to see them?"
Not right this minute.
He pointed to the bleachers. We took our seats as he continued talking.
Listen, buddy. You watch us practice and get a few pics in here and there, and then I'll get Byerly and we'll do your photo shoot idea. Is that clear?
Yeah, sure, but you'll have to ride with me there and back.
All right. I have to get back in the pool. Take some good shots. You hear me, buddy?
Gage got up and leapt into the water feet first. The team practiced until sunset. Drill after drill, they swam for miles, passing the ball to each other and shooting goals. The same pictures filled half my card. I needed some space for the photo shoot. As they practiced, I called Noel and asked him to meet me at Belmont. As the sun went down, the team exited the water, and after a debrief meeting, they marched into the locker room. Cody and Gage met up with me outside the locker room entrance. Both of them carried their team stuff in matching duffel bags which, like all team apparel, bore the Triton logo.
So what was the plan, bud?
Gage said, breaking his stern monotone for the first time. "We're going to Belmont." I explained the photo shoot a little before the 3 of us exited Canyon View and went to the car. After texting Noel, we were on our way to an evening of fun and photos. We found a parking space far from the shops at Belmont Park. The place was a carnival in more ways than one. With Halloween around the corner, there was the slim chance of a witch flying through with her broomstick or a spooky ghost. They couldn't scare me. I had friends now. We exited the car and walked towards the carnival. The place was almost as lit up as Vegas. Strings of park lights glistened the walkways like the prayer flags in my mom's trailer, except all white. The midway itself bore a Spanish-style Mission theme, fitting for its location next to Mission Beach. The coaster was older than anyone here, and it was the key attraction to the whole park. We were not here to ride it, but a line extended from the coaster past the ticket office in the middle, all the way to the surf shops on the south end. No competition meant a longer wait. We ran into Noel between the coaster and the arcade, exactly where I asked him to be.
What took you so long?
I introduced Noel to Cody and Gage. Cody wants to join us, and Gage is just along for the ride. Both of them shook hands with Noel. It was best to do the photo shoot in the well-lit parts of the carnival, despite the roughhousing kids horsing through the paths like they wanted to be in the next rodeo. There was the extra problem of 3 guys in Speedos in a public park, despite being next to the beach. Old Granny would bust a kneecap. "You 3 have trunks?" I asked. Noel and Cody nodded their heads. Gage stayed still. "I know you have a Speedo, Gage. Just use that." I watched their belongings as the 3 of them changed. Nothing I hadn't seen before, especially with Gage. I had seen him shirtless more often than not. My real model came out first, so I pulled him aside towards the wall. "Noel, I need you to help me see if Cody's up to snuff."
So you want me to evaluate him?
"Yes."
Honestly, I don't see why he can't join us already. Is he gay?
An odd thing to ask, but why did he care? I don't know.
Don't tell me you're opening up to the straight crowd. He does know that we are a gay modeling agency for gay guys, right? I could see Gage joining, but him? I dissent.
Noel, gays have been our audience, and they always will. The sexual orientation of the model doesn't matter, right? Gage walked out of the bathroom, clad in his team Speedo. Noel glanced him over.
I can tell you're an athlete. That builds a perfect swimmer's type.
Thanks, bud. You're actually not that bad looking yourself. Just need a proper haircut like mine and you'll be golden.
Cody joined us a few minutes later, wearing an orange pair of swim trunks.
Sir, it's odd seeing you in that out here, am I right?
He pointed towards Gage.
Forget it, Byerly. Let's just get this over with, okay, bud?
I took my 3 models to an isolated but well-lit walkway behind the main midway. The 3 guys lined up next to the wall, all smiling as I took a few test shots. Lighting at night was much tougher, and this was my first time doing a studio-like shoot outside after dark. 5 pictures later, I had it figured out. Depth of field, focus, all of it honed in. Okay, I just want Cody and Gage in this first set. I cycled through a series of poses like the ones used in my pinup shoots with Noel and Riker, except less sexual. The team captain strutted more power and authority with his toned arms and lats. Gage was the epitome of a Triton, if only missing a trident, even a plastic one. Cody's youthful body emanated potential with his orange trunks and balanced smile. Riker could spend a few weeks with him and he'd grow into a muscled beast.
Can I make a suggestion?
Gage asked.
Scruffy hair can get into my bag and get me my ball. I had a few poses I wanted to try out. They'll make me look fierce, vicious, ready to rip and tear the opponents in the pool.
Noel dug through Gage's bag and handed the captain his water polo ball. I repeated the cycle of photos, taking over 50 of him in about 20 separate poses of his own design. To be real, they were vicious. Sharks would be scared of him. The best was one of him palming the ball, right arm out, and hand over the ball. He fought gravity and won. With his turquoise aquatic energy, Gage's swimmer's build flourished like the patriotic team leader he was, in a way Riker or Noel could never do. I wanted to pinch his nipple as he held the ball up high, but knowing him, he'd fire me from the gig for thinking of touching him. I didn't forget about Cody. For fairness, he went through the same poses except for the palming one Gage pulled off so well. But every time Cody tried, his grip was not strong enough for the ball to stay in his hand. For every attempt, the ball bounced 3 times.
Don't worry, Byerly.
Gage said.
You'll learn how to do that in a couple years.
Cody smiled. As the night went on, we continued taking pictures throughout the park, some even in front of the rides and with little to no opposition from park security. As long as we didn't ride the rides shirtless, they didn't care. Around 10, we called it a night as far as photo shoots were concerned. Cody, Noel, and Gage changed back into their regular clothes. The rides were closing, so there was no need to stay here any longer.
So how'd I do, sir?
Cody asked, flooding my personal space with his presence. I'll talk with Noel about it. Get some rest and I'll call you when we decide.
Will do, sir, but you'll have to take me back to the dorms.
Me too, buddy.
Gage said.
A moment, please.
I followed Gage away from Cody and Noel. I knew he wanted to see the photos, so I showed them. He sighed and lowered my camera.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Gage was always honest, almost to a fault, so him saying that did not bode well for me. Okay?
I really needed this. I can't be obsessed with Polo like I am all the time. Sorensen's great and all, but we're only dating because of Polo, and don't get me wrong, buddy, he's a great player, but I wish he took it more seriously.
Huh? I took a seat on a concrete planter, tired from the day's standing. You're not making any sense. Gage fell to his knees, eyes beginning to water.
My head, it's not right. Practice in, practice out, not enough time for fun. You want to know the real reason I kept you around? It was your heart. Your free-spirited vibe was exactly what I needed, but I just can't break down like this in front of the team, especially not in front of Sorensen. I envy you, Gilardi. I really do.
I knelt down and lifted Gage up. He needed a long, tender hug. My chest against his supple pecs, his warmth radiated into my body. I rested my head on his shoulder as he burst into tears. Gage's crying lasted about 5 minutes. He could not speak. We held on to each other the whole time. As his tears dried up, he let me go.
Thanks, buddy. You're a good friend.
Gage kissed me on the cheek.
Don't tell anyone about this, okay?
If you want to talk, go ahead and call.
Uh-huh. We should go back to the others.
Gage led the way. We returned to Noel and Cody at the south end of the park, which was deserted from the closed rides. We returned to our vehicles, and after a few stops at the UCSD dorms, I made it to my apartment for some much-needed rest. I wanted to talk with Noel before hiring Cody, I called Noel and Riker to my apartment. No photo shoot was planned, but both models brought swimwear just in case I changed my mind. All three of us met at my dining room table.
So, dude,
Riker said as he drank from his glass of protein shake.
did the kid make the cut?
I need your honest opinions, guys. Noel, how's your college workload right now? Noel scratched his chin, eyes weary over our photo shoot at Belmont.
Honestly, if he's full-time at school, he should be part-time here. You should know the rigors of a full-class schedule, and even if he's a freshman, his course load and his responsibilities on the water polo team are enough by themselves to keep him busy.
Come on, dude, he don't need all that stuffy school shit.
Riker cocked his head, swaying his hair.
Let him model full-time.
Noel yawned.
You know he's straight, right?
Like I give a shit about that, dude. Would you want another queer here?
You take that back, Riker.
I stared into Noel's bloodshot eyes. Are you okay?
I'm fine, Jason.
Noel slumped his head on the table. He must have either hit the bottle or crammed for a tough test. Possibly both. Riker slid his half-drunk protein shake towards Noel.
Don't see the dude's problem with a straight guy. It's not like we're gonna bang him, right, Jace?
As much as Cody was a muscle-bound water polo player, he was no Riker, and I made a promise. I leaned towards my boyfriend and kissed him on the cheek. He returned my affection with a peck bounce.
You two don't get it at all.
Noel tried to slide Riker's protein shake back to him, almost tipping it over.
It's the fans we want. Do you honestly want to piss off a whole bunch of squeeing fangirls because you're something they'll never have? Or do you rather tease people who have a chance?
Riker's eyes widened.
About time you learned this business, dude.
You know what?
Noel strutted his head to keep from falling asleep.
Fine. But the moment Cody talks about fucking chicks, I'm out.
Riker stood up and squatted next to me.
Heterophobe.
He whispered. Noel yawned again and passed out.
Rough night, dude?
Leave him alone, man. I'll call Cody tomorrow and we'll do a small photo shoot at the school. I took a deep breath while the gears in my head turned. With 2 models already, I had the financial power to pay Tyler by Christmas, and hiring a third model, even part-time, meant less money for me. However, not hiring Cody at all could strain my relationship with the team, and I still needed to be on Gage's good side to keep that cash flow going. Noel's idea was the best. Hey, why don't you go change to your trunks and we'll get some pics in, okay?
Yeah, sure.
Riker went into the bathroom to change. Noel sat still, head on the table and eyes closed during our photo shoot. He rested cute enough to take a few pictures for me to play with. I took about 20 useful pictures of Riker before calling it a day. TCS could make a fair amount with these, and the day wouldn't be a complete waste. He changed back to his normal clothes as I went straight to editing. After slapping Noel's shoulder with no response, Riker said goodbye and left. Noel woke up about 2 hours later.
Where's Riker?
He asked in a groggy tone. Gone. I swiveled my desk chair to face the table, took a couple pics and left.
Shit, I was asleep that long?
Noel took a peek on his phone.
I'd better get going. You have fun with Cody tomorrow.
He grabbed his stuff and walked out the door. All alone now, I texted Cody where I wanted to meet him. My favorite hangout spot at the Price Center worked just as well as any. After some more editing and online posting of today's Riker pictures, I went to bed early for the night. Chapter 26, October 16th, 2017. Cody and I met in Price's central courtyard early in the afternoon. We sat together underneath an umbrella facing the nearby waterfalls.
So how'd I do, sir?
Cody asked in his delicate voice. You're in, but...
I know, we need to talk about Noel. He was giving me all these bad vibes at Belmont.
We talked yesterday. Just keep the polo talk down near him. Or the chicks, or anything of Noel's other triggers. Didn't want all 3 models fighting among themselves. Cody shrugged.
I'll try.
Now let's get that photo shoot done, okay?
I'd rather not do it here.
Cody stood up and slung his duffel bag over his shoulder.
Too many people. Let's go back to Canyon View.
With you there, man. I gathered my camera equipment and followed Cody out of Price.
So what was Noel's problem anyway, if you don't mind me asking?
In a way, I wanted to forget Riker's nickname he gave Noel yesterday. But once again, my mouth acted faster than my brain. He's heterophobic.
I don't care about that, it's his loss. The world would be a better place if we all got along. Sounds cliché, but it's true. There's almost 8 billion people out there who only want to be loved. I don't know about him or Captain Carson, though.
I couldn't tell Cody about Gage's breakdown, or Noel's pining for me last week. I nodded and changed the subject. So, why'd you get into modeling?
You know, I'm not sure myself. Always been into fitness and bodybuilding, and ever since I saw one of Riker's posters, I thought to myself, hey, I can do that too. Then when I saw Riker at the gym, I just had to ask.
Well, man, I patted Cody on the back. I think you'll do great here. Cody stopped as we arrived at the gate to unlock it.
Really? You're so nice.
We stepped inside, locking the gate behind us. After several twists and turns through Canyon View's halls, we were in the locker room. A few minutes later, I heard a knock on the door. I shuddered as I set up my tripod. Security must be vicious. The locker room door creaked open,
Hello?
said a familiar faint voice.
Come on in, Dustin.
Cody said.
It's just Jason and me in here.
Dustin walked in and neatly set his swim bag on a nearby bench.
What are you two doing?
Just a quick shoot. I screwed the camera on the tripod. You?
Well, I only came in here to swim a few laps in the East Pool. You two have fun in here.
Hey, Dustin, come pose with me.
Cody began to strip down to his team Speedo.
I've got a kick-ass idea for TCS. You fine with it, Jason?
Cody didn't need to ask. It was up to Dustin.
I'll pass.
Dustin removed his headphones and pulled out a hairbrush.
Hey, Drake said you've done pics with your band, right?
I pulled a 20 from my wallet if only to appease Cody. It'll be a short one.
Pretty please?
Cody pulled a 10 from his own wallet. Dustin took both of our bribes.
Don't put these online or I'll kill you, Jason.
I tinkered with my camera settings as Dustin and Cody changed into their Speedos and brushed up. Everything was in order. With the camera pointed at the shower wall, I gestured my two models to line up against it.
Hey, Dustin.
Cody turned his head.
Want to do something real cool?
Okay.
You get turned on when two chicks make out, right?
Dustin took a step away from Cody.
Whoa, hold on!
Come on, man, you'll be swimming in girls, you just gotta loosen up a little.
The two water polo players kept bickering over Cody's photo shoot idea. I had to keep my urges in check. Both of them knew I was gay, but the more they argued, the more the urges grew. With every impulse, I released the shutter. The candid shots were no good. Arms flying or angry teeth clenching underneath frizzled hair ruined every picture. Stop it, you two! Any more tension and it would burst. Dustin could see the tent pole through my pants.
Put a towel over it, Jason.
You know that only proves my point.
Cody gave me a seductive wink. From some of his subtle comments, I could have sworn Cody was in the closet. The way he worshipped Riker and his plan for a make-out photo shoot with Dustin made me question his sexuality. Riker didn't need to know about this. Cody, a word alone, please. Cody followed me around a nearby wall out of Dustin's sight. I glanced his whole body over before gliding over his powerful muscles.
You're all tense.
Cody said.
Something wrong?
Couldn't make contact. I was ready to faint. Deep breath after deep breath, and with one hand on Cody and the other controlling my primal urge, I continued. Let's just try and get this over with. Cody nodded and walked back to where Dustin was. I limped to a nearby stall to relieve myself. After cleaning up, I was ready to finish the shoot. Dustin had turned the shower on while I was gone, and his wet tanned skin glowed on the camera. Cody's did too, but even though Cody was more muscular and toned, Dustin's complexion was more desirable. Dark white with natural blonde hair, unlike Riker's, which seemed to have come from a bottle at times. 10 minutes later, Dustin turned off the shower valve.
Jason, I think that's enough.
Cody dripped across the tiled floor to reach his towel.
Great shoot, yeah?
Yeah, I started to take my camera equipment apart.
Well, guys, I gotta get my laps done. Catch you later.
Dustin dried himself off enough to keep from making a mess in the hallway, then walked out the door. Cody changed back into his regular clothes, and the two of us exited Canyon View the way we came, heading back towards Price, making mostly small talk. Upon arriving, I received a text message from Dustin.
Sorry about earlier.
NP, I texted back. Got a smiley in return. Cody and I parted ways, and I returned home. I had to keep my promise not to post any of the photos I took today online. Dustin looked like someone ready to unleash the fires of hell under that frosty shell of his, and with his own celebrity status, He was not a force to contend with, despite having my own celebrity boyfriend. If Riker were to beat him up, I'm sure he'd win, but the tabloids would ruin TCS. While editing the photos for my personal collection, and to get a little practice in too, in more ways than one, I received another message, this time from Gage.
Hey, bud. Sorensen and I are going to a concert in Hillcrest tomorrow night, and I've got an extra ticket. Want to come?
Sure. My fingers danced as I texted back. Any opportunity to schmooze the captain of the water polo team was a good one, and it'd be great to work on my selfies.
Chapter 27, October 17th, 2017. After my evening workout at BBU, I wanted to go into the sauna to relax, but found the door locked, covered with black paper. Perhaps they were doing some renovations. The warped wood benches needed to be refurbished. Before leaving for the locker room, I overheard a familiar nasal voice from the other side. A deeper, booming voice fought back.
That polo playing douchebag?
Said the booming voice.
He's pissed me off for the last time.
About time you got with the program, dude.
What? I'm only helping you because he pissed me off. I don't care about your fucking agency. This is about him and his frat friends trashing up my side of the room.
Whoa, dude. Killing the guy's going too far.
You don't understand.
The booming voice got louder.
How dare he destroy my beautiful shrine to myself? You want to know how long it took me to win that? 6 years for that trophy, and now that bastard and his friends stomp in while I'm in Fresno and shit where I live.
Calm down, Kyle. We both have our reasons.
And yours are?
Does it matter, dude? He's in the way.
I clenched my fist, ready to pound down the door. From the start, I didn't trust Riker, but him condoning an attack on someone crossed the line, especially someone as nice as Drake. Despite every urge to break the glass, I continued to listen.
I'll leave the keys in the break room. Oh, and check your phone tomorrow, dude. You'll need that code to get in.
Yeah, Reich, I'll check. After I'm done with him, he'll be eating out of a tube.
Both of them laughed.
Won't need that piece of garbage anyway, dude.
Can I ask you something? Why are you getting rid of your car?
Going to North Shore in Hawaii for a surfing competition next month, and the winner's gonna get a new car. One I've got, dudes, an 88. It's older than me.
I had to warn Jason about Drake, but with little information and without Drake's number, there wasn't much I could do. Their voices quieted. I had to leave. After changing in the locker room, I made my call. No answer. Voicemail full. Riker and Kyle walked into the locker room, both wearing their sauna towels. They turned towards me, with Riker breaking the silence.
Hey, Noel, how was your workout, dude?
Blood rushed into my head. The same Riker ready to hurt Drake 5 minutes ago greeted me with a smile. Before, I thought his persona was a mask. Now, I knew it was. Fine, I said, sweat escaping my facial pores.
That's great, dude. New guy treat you right?
Cody's fine. Does what he's told, but I need to go. Got class tomorrow. The choice to be tactful was the better one, even if I really didn't have a 3-hour study session with Hanamura. Riker couldn't know I eavesdropped on his conversation with Kyle, and if I confronted him on it, I'd lose. 2 fit guys had an obvious advantage over one, especially if the enemy brute was a 6'4", 220-pound behemoth with brains that insult the intelligence of rocks.
Well, dude, I'll see you around.
Riker waved at me, gripping his towel with his other hand. I waved back to my coworker and his bodybuilder friend before leaving them to change. As soon as I got home, I gave Jason another call. This time, he answered. Drake's in trouble, I said nonchalantly.
What?
I heard loud techno music on his end.
You kidding? He's here! Gage too!
Look, get him safe. His roommate's going to kill him.
Listen, buddy.
His voice changed. Either that or Jason handed the phone to someone else.
I don't know who you think you are, nor do I care, but no one's going to hurt my boyfriend, you hear me?
He hung up. Jason, too? That man whore was seeing 3 different guys? I didn't stand a chance at all, but for once I was grateful Cody was straight, or he'd be banging him too. No wonder Riker was siding with Kyle. Jason definitely needed someone better, someone like me. Jason and I met at his apartment on the first day both of us were free. I wanted to meet sooner, but he had his photo shoots with Riker and Cody, and I had my classes with Hanamura. After closing his window blinds, I sat him down at the table. So, I said, how is your relationship status? Single, open, friends with benefits, married, help me out here.
With who?
Jason stared into space. Pick one, or never mind. Who was that guy on your phone 2 weeks ago?
Oh yeah, Gage invited me to a club in Hillcrest, so I went with him. Drake was there too, man.
I knew that already. The robot music clued me into that knowledge. Any, moments?
Happy moments?
Jason rested his head on one of his hands, ready to doze off.
Yeah, but they spent most of their time away from me. Like I wasn't even there. In fact, Gage kept talking about water polo the whole time.
Right. I scratched my head. Look, listen here. A couple weeks ago, I heard Riker chat with one of his friends. Long story short, Drake's going to be in trouble, or worse, killed. Jason sprang from his chair.
What? Riker's going to kill Drake?
He slammed the table with both of his fists.
Why?
Not him, one of his friends.
Who? Who?
He towered over me.
I need answers.
Just calm down and let me finish. Jason pouted and sat himself down. Apparently Drake did something to piss him off, and now he wants revenge. And to make things worse, Riker's going to help him. I don't think anything's happened yet. Granted, I haven't heard anything about Drake or anyone else on the news, but...
Huh? You're lying. Riker won't hurt anyone. Let me call him and find out what's going on.
Jason pulled out his phone and made a call. Silence.
Huh? Went to voicemail.
He tried 3 more times, each with no answer. A reasonable person would have texted after the first try.
You know, I'll call Drake instead.
Ugh, you hurt my head sometimes, you know? What if he doesn't answer? Then what? My words went nowhere. Jason pressed his phone into his left ear and zoned me out. I pulled out my own phone and played my usual pinball game while he yacked at Drake. If he wasn't going to listen to me, then I wasn't going to give a shit about someone I barely knew. 5 minutes later, he hung up.
Hey, I'm going to his place. If I'm there, then he can't be hurt, right?
You're stupid. Honestly, I could have left right there and watched him march into his funeral. Even a kindergartner would cry foul. Nevertheless, he could have a rational reason to kamikaze into Drake's dorm room and slap Kyle with his sissy arms. He'd do more damage with pool noodles. I cleared my throat and continued to speak. You think Riker's going to be there, right? Jason shrugged. What's your reasoning then?
Gage.
He whispered.
He won't hurt him.
Like hell he would. Gage had as much street cred as Drake or any other water polo numbskull. Why won't he hit Gage?
He's got power, or his family does. One smack will get him kicked off campus and thrown in jail.
You know what? I'm leaving. Jason's whining made me cringe. I stood up and left.
Chapter 28. November 2nd, 2017. Drake was one of the lucky ones. His living situation was unusual for the UCSD dorm system. He lived in a suite at the northwest part of campus, and granted he had 20 suite mates, he only shared a room with one. This was my first time entering his second dorm room. We were roomies back when I was still going to school, and our place was more intimate. 5 guys to a suite, and the lucky single in the middle. Drake craved his new digs, despite not being the alpha male here. I waited outside on a warm afternoon for him to let me in. After 3 knocks on the front door, the door opened. Cody greeted me and let me inside. Why was he here? As I went inside the suite, I searched for Drake's room. All 8 doors were closed, including the bathroom. His was the furthest from the right. Before I could turn the handle, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Cody stood too close for comfort.
Sir, I wouldn't go in there. He's a little busy at the moment.
I complied. He could wait 5 more minutes. Cody brought me a glass of water as I took a seat on a torn-up couch. He sat next to me. We were the only 2 people in the living room, with everyone else gone or locked up in their concrete cubbies studying. Leftover pizza boxes and dirty diapers, or at least wadded-up clothes that looked like diapers, littered the floor. Typical dorm room for frat wannabes.
You got another photo shoot planned for me?
Cody asked.
Might be able to do another one before finals. Hey, you going to the tournament on the 18th?
Yeah, man, of course. Any opportunity to make more money to pay back, Tyler grabbed my attention. Look, can I ask you something?
Sure.
I came here thinking someone was going to attack Drake like someone he knows. If I mentioned Riker, then I'd lose him. Anyone odd come in here lately? Cody's face quivered like I was scaring him.
Sorry, don't live here, but Drake had that party 2 weeks ago and he's kinda changed after it. Like he only wants to be here if his roommate's gone. Like he called me since Kyle was in Fresno again. He's been going there almost every weekend now. Asked me to come here, so he's all paranoid.
Hey, I patted Cody on the head. I need to open up that door. He can't be locked up in there forever. Both of us sprang off the couch and ran to the door. Cody handed me a keycard. Fidgeting it into the lock, the lights on the handle turned green and the door opened. We needed eye bleach for what was on the other side. Drake screamed as he pulled out of his boyfriend. Gage's face boiled red as he pushed Cody and me out of the room. He slammed the door. A couple minutes later, the door creaked back open, allowing us to re-enter. The dorm room was a pigsty, mostly of Drake's doing. His side of the room was littered with posters of water polo players, several familiar, and photos of him and his party buddies. A few snaps of him and Gage were taped onto his old-school TV on top, which was turned on and showing some pop culture show I didn't give a shit about. Gage and Drake faced each other, still shirtless, and then to us.
What were you thinking, Byerly?
It was all him, sir.
Cody pointed to me. Drake, you got to go. I pushed Cody to the wall and squeezed myself between the others. You're not safe here.
Bro, chill out. Course I am.
What's going on?
Gage pulled me to the other side of the room. He gripped my arm, stopping any escape.
You're acting all strange, Gilardi.
Let him go, Cap. I'll explain.
Gage let me go. I rejoined Cody at the entrance.
It's probably about my roommate, isn't it? We had a fight 2 weeks ago. He went up north and we had that kick-ass party. Then he came back, trashed his shit, bro, and got pissed off.
Sorensen,
Gage soothed Drake with his touch.
you need to listen to me. That was 2 weeks ago. You're living in the past, and he's not going to retaliate twice. So let go, okay?
Drake took several deep breaths.
Maybe, bro.
Guys? I interrupted. This isn't going to stop.
Where's your proof?
Gage glared at me.
Not one word you said, buddy, has made me believe your story. That call at the club doesn't count.
Gage couldn't have second-hand information. Without Noel here to say his part, my argument was groundless. Even then, Noel tried and already failed. I had to smile and nod.
You're not going to give me an answer?
Gage put his shirt on.
Then you're not worth my time. I'll see all three of you at the tournament.
The captain pushed Cody and passed through the door.
What just happened?
Cody rubbed his chest where Gage had nudged him.
You piss him off?
Drake, you believe me, right? He stared at Cody and me, speechless.
Sorry, bros. Gotta believe him. You two should get out of here.
Sir, I'm not going to go. I believe Jason's story.
Both of you, out.
Drake pointed to the door. With no other way to persuade him, Cody and I left the dorm room. Outside, the sun began to set over the dark blue ocean. If Kyle was going to strike, it wouldn't be today. No chance to bring up Riker with Cody still here.
Any chance for that photo shoot?
He asked. Quick one, shirt off. All my camera equipment was at home, but since Cody asked, a couple snaps with the phone could sell at half price. We went to a nearby grassy field surrounded by dorm halls. Cody wore only his flip-flops and cargo shorts as he stood facing away from the sun. I took a few pictures of my model in 5 different poses. The brown of his shorts complemented the beige buildings behind him, contrasting with the navy ocean. At sunset, both of us grew tired from the long, eventful day. We said goodbye and walked separate paths to our vehicles. On my way home, I received a text from Noel.
Meet me at UCSD next Friday. I'll send coordinates.
Why would Noel of all people want to come here? He had no connection to this school. He was an SDSU student. As soon as I got home, I waited for the coordinates. Nothing. Even after I sent Tyler another payment, bringing me 2/3 of the way to $60,000, there was nothing. Perhaps he wanted to wait until Friday.
Chapter 29. November 17th, 2017. I arrived at the south end of UCSD's Eucalyptus Path on the northeastern corner of campus just before nightfall. Jason was nowhere to be seen. I checked my phone. It was only 5 o'clock when I received a text from him, saying he'd be here shortly. There was little to hear except trees whistling with the wind and a few cars speeding west on Voight Drive, blinding me with their high beams. The cool wind choked my face. My hoodie provided ample protection and concealment for the rest of me. Jason paced towards me from the west.
Sorry I'm late, let's go.
He pointed up the path and we began our hike. I walked faster than Jason did. For a guy who hired 3 male supermodels, he stuck out like the emaciated twig in a forest of sequoias. The adrenaline rushing through my veins forced me to take each step quicker than the last. I stopped midway on the path underneath a park lamp to rest for a while to let Jason catch up. He limped for the last 300 feet and clutched his paws onto the light pole when he arrived. "Hey, you should sit down," I said. "You'll wear yourself out." Jason lowered himself onto the dirt path, sitting Indian style.
The wind's nice, isn't it?
I nodded and took a seat next to him. Yeah, nothing new from Drake?
He was at last week's game, but we didn't talk.
Jason murmured.
Man, I don't want to talk about it. No one's going to hurt him, like he's always surrounded by someone. Gage, the rest of the team, his frat friends.
I get it. You don't need to name every student on campus, but since we're here, I'm a little curious. Why did you pick UCSD? You could have gone to state for half the cost.
Cost wasn't an issue. Even if my cousin couldn't pay for it, I had other ways. Cal grants, scholarships, all that and all.
The pieces finally started to line up. No wonder Jason didn't diss Tyler, but now wasn't the time to chide him. How'd you get in anyway? You don't look like you're in the top 30%. Jason sighed.
Justin.
Couldn't recall who that was.
Justin always beat me up. Tyler too, and my parents didn't even do anything about it. My Uncle Terrence encouraged the bullying, wanted to make me a man.
Why would they do that? I clasped onto Jason's shoulder. Because you're gay?
Maybe.
Jason shed a single tear. I clenched my fist. The minute I met Justin, he was going to regret it. Straights are all the same. They're fucking cowards. No disrespect to Cody. Football-playing wife-beaters chugging beer after beer day in and day out. By God, did Justin ever do anything to help you? Jason's tears multiplied.
He's the reason I got into UCSD. He's the one who wrote my admissions essays. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't be here right now.
That's a lie. If anything, we could have met while I was in undergrad, provided he had an interest in photography 3 years ago. Even if he wasn't, Jason and I would have crossed paths somewhere. I couldn't be mad at him for lying to the university, though. Jason remained silent for a while. He stared at the eucalyptus tree canopies, possibly searching for a path to the cosmos. I let him be while planning my next move. The stream of tears welled up on his face. It was time to play. So Tyler helped you pay for college? He could afford it?
Until this month.
Jason wiped his face.
He had at least 10 times as much money as us. Only because of you and Riker.
And Cody, I presume? Might as well add the other water polo jocks while he was at it.
Hey, don't interrupt.
Jason giggled. In Jasonese, his gray storm clouds opened to rays of sunshine.
I've got enough money to pay him back, and some left over for you too.
That's nice. I really meant it. Jason stood back up, grasping onto the light pole to balance himself.
Hey, let's keep walking.
I rose from the dirt pathway and patted Jason on the shoulder. We trekked to the northern end of the trail at Genesee and stopped on the sidewalk.
Hey, Noel.
Jason asked.
You mind going with me to the tournament tomorrow?
I didn't have much love for sports, especially team sports. The last thing I wanted to see was a bunch of buffoons tackle and claw each other over a jaundiced pigskin like it was their precious floaty in the pool. I wasn't really interested. You should take Riker, assuming you can get a hold of him.
I'm sure he'll show, but just in case.
From his tone, he was making me play second fiddle again. Why are you being so defensive?
Well, Riker's my boyfriend, so of course I'm going to be defensive. You've got a problem with that? If so, you should quit.
I imagined Jason fucking Riker every night behind my back. He hadn't shown up in almost a month, but Jason could have been sneaking out and not telling anyone else. I knew their relationship wasn't a healthy and traditional one, especially since Jason was the smallest top and Riker was the biggest bottom I had ever met. The twink didn't deserve him, and vice versa. Riker was as toxic as the green on his surfboard, but Jason had to decide between him or me. You know, it's not worth quitting. We should turn around. Jason and I walked back the way we came. When we got to Voight, we stopped. I turned around to face Jason, locking him with my hands to keep him from escaping. I never answered your question.
And?
Jason's green eyes flushed gray. I'll go with you to the tournament, if you do something for me.
What, anything?
Jason tried to let go of me, but I gripped him tighter. Fuck me. I took off my hoodie and flung it over my shoulder. Fuck me right here at the UC right now. Knowing Jason, I was sure he had the wrong ideas. He thought grapes, and I thought bananas. But only one green banana was worth plucking from the bunch, and I wanted to see if Jason had the purple grapes to do the job. As you can guess from the last line here, the rest of this chapter cannot be read on YouTube. If you are over the age of 18, you can always purchase the full version of the novel on Amazon. Links to purchase the book, as well as the official Tribal Culture Studio website, are in the description.
Chapter 30. November 18th, 2017. Noel and I passed through the southern gate into the Canyon View Aquatic Center just after dawn and took our seats in the western bleachers. The crowd was much busier this time. A rainbow of fans littered the stands, each from a different school from Southern California. Their cheers flooded the area deeper than the empty pool water, for no particular reason. I stared at the locker room door on the other side of the pool.
What you doing?
Noel asked. I snapped my head to face Noel. I wanted to see Drake come out.
I think you should read this, man.
Noel handed me his phone. The screen already displayed an online article from the Triton. UCSD student in critical condition after accident, it said. Drake Sorensen, 22, a junior water polo player and UCSD student, has been hospitalized after an injury sideswipe crash on Interstate 5 on Friday. Suspect is at large. My head dropped forward as my arms loosened, almost dropping Noel's phone. That fucker who hit Drake, he's going to pay. I didn't care if it was a bozo creeper or it was Riker. Whoever did it was dead to me. Noel grabbed his phone and shook me out of my trance.
Hey, snap out of it, Jace. You've got a game to shoot.
I regained composure, twitching a few times before focusing on the pool in front. The crowd's screams of joy grew louder as all 8 teams lined up along the western pool deck and faced us. Most of the teams didn't matter to me, but I noticed a few standouts. USC, UCLA, all of them relatively local. Gage jumped into the water and his team followed. Another team entered the pool on the other side, while the other 6 teams marched themselves towards the eastern pool for practice. I whipped out my camera and zoomed in on the UCSD team. The rising sun bleached out my view of the players and rendered my camera blind. I only scoped out washed-out blue caps, unable to see any of the numbers. They were the only way to recognize the players while they swam in the water. The more pictures I took, the more I thought of Drake. He fought hard to get into this tournament, and with him gone, I had no support other than Noel, and he didn't seem interested in anything other than playing on his phone. Practice was over. The referee threw the yellow and blue water polo ball into the center of the pool with one hand. Both teams swam for it, and the first underwater brawl out of many began. I zoomed in on each player, ours and our opponents, but mostly ours, and snapped more pictures until my first SD card was full.
Number 11 for the Tritons,
The announcer said in a monotone over the speakers.
Dustin Walker, carrying the ball, pass complete, number 7, Gage Carson in possession.
Both of them swam on my side of the pool. I focused on Gage. He held the ball over his head, right-handed. He swirled it counterclockwise, ready to shoot a goal. 2 defenders tackled Gage as he released the ball. I followed it with my camera lens. Missed. Caught by the goalie. The other team had possession, but lost it as one of our own ripped the ball out of the driver's hand.
Number 13, Sky Merkel, takes the ball.
Before I could take another picture, Noel tapped my shoulder.
Hey, I'm gonna get some water. Come with?
I shook my head. Noel exited the stands. I continued my picture, taking through the end of the first quarter. The Tritons were ahead by 1, with Gage shooting most of the goals. Noel was nowhere to be found. He should have come back by now. The guy probably got stuck in line. The second quarter resembled the first. Triton scored, then the other team scored. A volley of goals and slamming the cage ball by ball. We were ahead by 2 at halftime. Noel returned at the end of the second quarter with a paper plate of nachos and a water bottle.
Jason, I think we should leave.
Why? You're saying that with all that food? Noel pointed with his water bottle to a block on the southern end of the pool.
See that black guy at the top? The one in red?
I shifted my eyes upward and found a guy matching Noel's description. It was hard to make out the details, but he looked familiar. What about him?
I think he's staring at us.
Noel handed me the unopened water bottle. He took my hand and dragged me away from the bleachers.
Let's get out of here.
What about the second half? I scurried to catch up with my model. You aren't staying?
It'll be in the paper. Let's go.
Noel and I ran across campus until we found ourselves at the Price Center. We stopped to catch our breath. What's this all about? Is there something wrong? Noel grabbed both of my shoulders and drew me into him.
I know that guy. He's up to something.
He looked familiar to me, too. I recalled the photos I saw in Drake's dorm room. That was Kyle. Oh my God, Drake lied to me. Kyle wasn't in Fresno. He was still here. Noel, how do you know him? Noel still had trouble catching his breath.
The gym, Jason. Riker, man. Kyle's more obsessive than he is.
One thing at a time, let's sit down. Noel and I sat on a small group of steps leading down to the Price Center's courtyard. A cascade of waterfalls gave us calming noise to focus. Now, why are you scared of Kyle?
He was the guy I warned you about, Riker's friend.
Snap out of it, man. Riker and I dated since June and he never hit me, let alone anyone else. He was so nice he might as well have been a doormat. You're just paranoid. Noel turned my head to face his, eyes in full contact. He kept his grip on my chin.
And the moment Riker raises his hand, I'm out. I'll quit TCS and I'll quit you. Do you understand?
I nodded and Noel released me. Let's go back to the game.
Oh, I'm not going back there.
Noel pointed away from the aquatics center.
Kyle's up to something, and I don't want to find out.
He walked south into the distance. I traveled east until I returned to Canyon View. The seats we sat in stayed empty during our detour at Price, and I reclaimed them with ease. There was no sign of Kyle in the other section.
Tritons win 9-7.
The announcer said, still in a monotone voice.
They will be moving to the semifinals.
Cheering from my section deafened my ears. The screams exploded as our team climbed out of the pool and slapped high fives with their opponents. Gage turned his head towards me and smiled. I waved back at him, but he didn't return the favor. As the team finished with congratulations, they turned to their right to face us in the audience. This was the perfect opportunity for me to snap the eye candy. I set the camera to rapid fire. Each player hopped, waved, or celebrated in his own way. I shot over 50 pictures of the team enjoying their victory. Gage's behavior intrigued me the most. Both feet flat on the pool deck, he waved nonchalantly with his left arm before walking into the locker room behind the stands. His teammates followed. I checked the tournament schedule. UCSD would not play for the rest of the day. No need for any more pictures. 30 minutes passed before the next game started. Before I could leave, I needed to find Gage. The thought of Drake in the hospital clouded my mind. Gage and the UCSD team sat in the front row of bleachers, 29 blue and yellow towels draped under them, and dressed in solid blue t-shirts depicting the Triton logo. I abandoned my seat and approached Gage. Cody waved at me, and I waved back. Dustin stopped me as I crossed in front of him.
Whoa, man.
He said as he stood up, blocking my access to Gage.
Who do you think you are?
Hey, Gage, I waved to him. Where's Drake?
Let him through, Walker. Everyone to my left scoot down a spot.
Dustin sat back down. I waited for half the team to move before I crossed over them. Gage took out an extra towel and draped it over the bleachers, giving me a spot to sit between him and Sky.
If you're looking for Sorensen, he's in Thornton resting up. We were going to visit him after today's games.
That's great, man. Can I come with?
It's a team thing, Jason, and you're not on the team.
Sky said.
You're lucky enough the captain's letting you sit with us.
Knock it off, Merkel.
Gage wrapped his hand around my back.
Don't worry, buddy. You'll be an honorary team member for today. I don't care what Merkel or any of my boys say. You're with us.
Thanks, Gage.
Normally people on my team call me captain, but I'll let it slide for you. Now in return, take some nice pictures of us tomorrow, okay, buddy?
I nodded. The team gave me suitable protection from Kyle should he return, provided I didn't sit next to Cody. If I did, Kyle would notice and would attack on sight. As a team, we watched the rest of the day's games together. After the first half of the tournament ended, I hitched a ride with Gage to Thornton Medical Center, the hospital where Drake had been sent to after his accident. The rest of the team joined up after blending with the caravan of cars rushing to escape Canyon View. In the hospital's lobby, Gage divided the whole team into groups of 3 save the 2 goalies. Since there was no one with cap number 12, he put me in the empty spot. Why did I have to be grouped up with Dustin and Sky of all people? Cody was number 19, and if only there was no one wearing caps 17 or 18, then I would be with him. The goalies were the first to visit Drake. They followed a nurse through a pair of floppy doors and disappeared for 15 minutes. While I waited for my turn, I sat next to Cody.
So we couldn't stop it.
He said, "What's done is done, Cody. As soon as Drake gets out, we'll make sure Kyle pays."
Exactly. But before I forget, next month I got finals and I won't be able to pose for any pictures or do anything else for TCS until after they're done. So I'm asking if you can let me study.
No problem, Codester. I stroked his cheek.
Knock it off.
He pushed my hand down.
Walker, Gilardi, Merkel,
Gage said,
you three are up.
well, I've got to go. I stood up and patted Cody on the shoulder. He didn't mind that kind of touch. Dustin, Sky, and I went through the folded doors. Silence from the staff filled the pasty hospital hallways. The only noise I heard was from Dustin's earbuds blasting death metal. His ears were either used to it, or he would be deaf before he turned 30. Menthol green paint and linoleum flooring lined the entire walk to Drake's room. We followed a cute nurse carrying a clipboard with 3 pens attached. Sky stared at her the whole time. The nurse didn't seem to care. She knocked 3 times on the metal door to Drake's room before flinging it open for us to enter. Sky went in first as the nurse left to give the 3 of us some privacy.
How you doing, guy?
He asked. No response. Drake's eyes were shut. He lay comatose on the bed, attached to an array of surgical tubes through his nose and who knew what else. He had to be alive. If he were dead, the nurses would never let us visit, and he would have been in a morgue instead of a hospital. His skin didn't quiver from the air conditioner blowing on his body. Could he hear us? There was a small chance. Drake, you all right? I pushed Sky aside and shook Drake to get any sort of reaction. Still nothing.
Such a man-child.
Sky said.
Drake's in a coma, dipshit. He can't hear you.
Let it go.
Dustin glared at Sky as he took out one of his earbuds.
We did our best, Drake. Jason here did his too. I'm sure he's got some pro, as you say it, pictures of us kicking ass in the pool.
That dumb fuck driver's going to pay for what he did to you.
Sky pounded his fists together.
Rest up, guy, and when you get out of this hellhole, you'll have a new car built by yours truly.
I think I know who hit Drake, I said. Maybe his roommate?
Knock it off, Jason.
Dustin said. He fidgeted with his MP3 player until the cacophonous music stopped.
How do you know it's Kyle?
First Noel and now Dustin of all people knew who Kyle was. I formed a cross within the doorframe to keep both athletes from leaving. They had answers, and I was going to fish them out of their waterlogged brains. Sky knew something too. How do you two know Kyle?
Kyle Gillespie?
Sky said.
Why does it matter to you?
I had to piece together what I learned from Noel without giving the jocks fuel to maul me down. It wasn't an accident. It couldn't have been. Noel acted too strange to pull me all the way to Price just to get away from Kyle. Kyle hit Drake on purpose.
You're thinking way too much into this guy. It's called an accident for a reason, numbnuts.
Hear him out, Sky.
I cleared my throat. Sorry for secondhand info, but I know a guy who knows Kyle. Is the name Noel Geiger familiar to either of you? Both of them shrugged. Sure, I made him into a powerful gay cultural celebrity, but to straight guys he was a nobody. Figures, maybe the next name would ring some bells. How about Riker Q. Zinek?
Huh?
Dustin stroked his chin, fidgeting with the cord connected to the earbud still attached.
That name sounds familiar. Did he play at a show in North Park?
I showed you a picture of him, remember?
Oh, now I remember.
Dustin spoke louder than usual.
That dude in a Speedo, that freaked me out like he was part of the team and whatnot. He's one of your models, isn't he?
Yeah, I said.
Wait,
Sky looked ready to leave.
we're talking about Kyle here, not some douchebag. The news don't know it, but we know it was not Kyle's car that hit Drake.
What color was the car?
Green.
Okay then. That was all I needed to know. Riker was the only person I knew with a green car. I relaxed my arms and dropped them from the doorframe.
We should get going.
Dustin waved at Drake and walked out. Sky followed. I took a seat in a plastic chair next to Drake's hospital bed. I know you can hear me there. Dustin and Sky don't understand, but I do. If Riker's truly to blame, he'd pay with his modeling career. Knowing him, he'd hire Kyle as a lackey and a scapegoat, but maybe I'm thinking too much about it, man. What am I going to do with him? He's my boyfriend, and he's never crossed me, ever. 3 more UCSD team members entered the room. Well, I've got to get going. I'm sure the Tritons will win. I'm sure of it, right, guys? All 3 of them smiled.
Hell yeah, we will,
Said one of them. I left Drake's room and made my way to the hospital lobby. Gage chatted with Dustin about small things.
About time you came back out, buddy.
Listen, Gage, I'll have your pictures by Thanksgiving, man.
What?
The captain's face clammed up.
Listen, buddy, there's more important things to think about right now than your pictures.
I know, Drake wants us to win.
You just do your job at the semifinals tomorrow, and if we win, I'd better see the best sports plays in my life on prints for the whole team to see of us winning the championship. We'll make water polo great again.
Yes, sir,
Yeah, Jason.
Dustin said, his earbuds on full blast and covering both ears.
Get a pic of me shooting a kick-ass goal.
Will do. The rest of the team paid their visits to Drake 3 at a time. When number 23, the last player, returned, Gage held the hospital door open for everyone as they left. He and I brought up the rear. We drove back to Canyon View where we said our goodbyes and went our separate ways. As I drove home, countless thoughts raced through my head. Was Riker who he said he was? We had been dating for a while, but since hiring Cody, we hadn't said a word to each other. I dialed his number. No answer. 3 more times. No answer at all. He usually picked up on the second ring. The second day of the tournament began at sunrise. More fans filled the Canyon View bleachers than yesterday. I found a seat near the top and took out my camera. Waiting for the sun to finish its golden rise that would make a Triton proud enough to play water polo above the eastern locker rooms, I snapped a few test shots in that direction. It was hard to concentrate on the semi-finals. UCSD didn't play for at least 2 hours, so I had to sit through one grueling match with no one to talk to. None of my friends nor any of the Tritons were present, well except Sky, but he wasn't worth talking to. Fitting for number 13, he looked out of place talking to one of UCLA's coaches. Maybe he was the culprit, but why would Sky go after Drake? I called Riker again. No response. Every 20 minutes I would call him for answers, and every call went to voicemail. Even if I texted him, he wouldn't reply. The first game of the day slogged with the players drawing one exclusion foul after another. The referees had a field day kicking the violent players out of the pool and forcing them to chill. At halftime, both teams scored in the double digits, unusual for even a full game of water polo. I didn't care about the exact score, and since UCSD wasn't playing, I didn't care about taking any pictures. The second half dragged on as long as the first. An hour-long game stretched out to 2 as the players in the pool brawled for the ball, and the referees continued giving out exclusion fouls, some even for the rest of the game.
Bruins win!
The announcer said.
They'll be moving on to the finals. We'll be taking a half-hour break before our second semifinal game, where the UCSD Tritons will be playing against the USC Trojans.
The crowd dispersed. Staying in the stands, I gave Tyler a call during the break. Hey man, I was going to call last night, but I was busy.
Busy with what? You've got a month left before Christmas, and you're still 15 grand short. To be honest, I didn't expect you to pony up the amount you did so far, but every day counts. You can always be doing shit that's worth a fuck.
No need for the grad school lecture in Tylernomics. Drake was in an accident 2 days ago.
Who?
My friend on the water polo team. I went with his teammates to the hospital last night to check up on him.
Sorry, Jace.
Huh? Was Ty being nice all of a sudden? Tyler took a deep breath over the phone.
I'm truly sorry.
Also, Riker's missing. I haven't heard from him in a month, and I'm worried he might be dead. Nothing in the paper. I called him over and over. No answers, no nothing, no anything. What am I going to do without him? Even Noel doesn't know where he is. Help me.
Calm the hell down, Jason. Have you called the gym where he works? They should know where the fucker went.
I don't have their number.
Read a phone book, fudge pumper. You should have one. Goodbye.
Tyler hung up. There he went again. The fans crowded the bleachers before the second game started. Even some of them were sore losers. Fewer people returned than left. Everyone chatted among themselves while the 2 competing teams entered the pool. UCSD swam on the north while USC took the south. The fans kept quiet during practice, which was no different from any other. Despite being at Canyon View, our team wore white. USC's caps were blood red, the color of menace and pure evil. If we were going to win, we would have to play the hardest we ever did, even rougher than the teams in the first semifinal match. As was an unestablished tradition by now, I took pictures of practice, ignoring the spoiled kids paying twice as much for their education as our already cash-strapped team was. They didn't give me the same feeling earlier pictures did. Even the ones from yesterday were more useful. If only Drake could see these. The game began like the others this season. The team was prepared, but I wasn't. Every picture I took looked worse than the last. Amateur mistakes. Fingers over the lens, the wrong aperture, the wrong lens as a whole. The agency controlled me. Riker did. Where the hell was he? Every attempt failed. I left before the second quarter. No useful pictures. Smudges on otherwise decent ones ruined the quality. Gage was going to kill me. Dustin, too. I returned home, head hung out to dry and body ready to die. With a box of tissues next to my computer, I started editing. I'd need every single one. The first day's pictures took less effort to enhance. Contrast was a simple slide action. Colors were easy to curve. Each one looked crisp on the monitor screen, ready to be printed and framed. I sent the 20 best photos to Gage. As I opened today's files, I wept inside. No amount of editing could save them. To call them duds would be an insult to the worst pictures I ever took of the models. All of them got deleted. Tears formed under my eyes as I reached for a tissue. For every one I used on my watering eyes, I needed 3 more for my sniffling nose. Wads upon wads of snotted and drenched tissues flooded my desk and covered my keyboard. I couldn't edit anymore, not without my Riker by my side. As I lay in my bed that night, lights out outside and in, I kept sobbing until I heard my cell phone ring. Hello? I sniveled.
Hey, it's Dustin. You still up?
Uh-huh.
I saw a guy tonight, and although my memory's fuzzy, he looked like your friend Riker.
I sprang out of bed. Riker, are you for reals? Where?
It was in Pacific Beach. Some shopping center right by the ocean near a hotel right off of Grand.
Bodybuilding United, that had to be it. Thanks, man.
Captain's looking forward to those photos. I know they'll turn out great. Take it easy, okay?
Dustin hung up. Now I knew Riker was alive. If only he answered my calls.